Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Nagle. I am your Chief Operating Officer here at the Iowa Association of Realtors, and I'm joined today by Valerie Garcia to talk about our upcoming convention happening October 4th through the 6th at the Downtown Marriott. Welcome, Valerie. How are you?
I'm great. Excited to be here.
Excited to be here. Still sweating in Michigan, though, correct? That you're in Michigan now?
Yeah, it's a little warm, but hey.
There goes our evergreen. You guys missed all our pre-talk before we started our official session here. And I think we decided we'd get rid of flies, mosquitoes, and maybe remind ourselves that it's going to be negative 87 at some point. We should just try not to complain so much about the heat. But you are going to be joining us for a whole day of sessions on October 5th. So excited to have you. This is your second round with IAR. So actually, fun fact, you were one of the first speakers I ever contracted when I started with the association back in 17. So it's kind of full circle moment for me. And so excited to have you back. So do you want to tell us a little bit about you and then we'll move on to your sessions?
Sure. Well, yeah, I'm excited to come back to Iowa, and it's been a few years. So really excited to be back in person and see people in real life. So very excited. I've been in real estate 25 years and in real estate education full time for about the last 16. My passion is just helping people do better in their real estate marketing. It's as simple as that. I love to give people tactics and practical tips and great examples. And we're going to be doing a lot of that this year.
Yeah, super excited. I have to say, we'll go talk about sessions in a minute, but one of my favorite things that you do every year is the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not a real estate practitioner anymore, but I do love watching it. I always make time to tune in and to watch that one because it's really spectacular to see all the good stuff, and you're really shocking to see all the ugly stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a year-end webinar. Do it every year. I did take the year off last year because the ugly was it was a lot last year. So
there's a lot of ugly.
It's a lot of fun kind of keeping an eye out for the agents that are doing really good. And there's some really good, amazing stuff. And I love those examples. And then, we have the bad and the ugly, some examples of how we can improve.
Yeah, always good to evaluate and decide to make those changes and be better. And we can all learn from our mistakes or from other people's mistakes and utilize those in our own spaces. You've got a lot of great sessions. I think the favorite one description wise for me, and I haven't seen any of these sessions in person yet, are you are a weirdo. I love your titles. You always have unique and fun titles, and your sessions always match the energy that comes from there. But I think you are a weirdo is my favorite one. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, you're a weirdo came from a quote that I heard, and I won't give it away. You have to come to the session to hear it, but it was really around this idea of being weird and how awesome it is to embrace our weird in our business. And when I really kind of dug into history, there are some incredible weirdos in history that have created some amazing things we use every single day. And when they came up with those ideas, people thought they were absolutely nuts. And so that session goes through a lot of our sort of most famous weirdos in history and the lessons we can learn from them and how we can embrace our weird in our own business.
Yes, I love it. As a closet weirdo, maybe. We all have unique stuff, and I love it. Why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the other sessions you've got coming up too?
So all of the sessions have a kind of similar theme this year. They're all really centered around how do we talk to our people, which I think is so important right now because we've not been talking to our people in maybe the usual way for the last couple of years, right? We've been getting on camera or we've been doing things digitally or, we've just had to adjust. And so a lot of these sessions just came out of the changes we've all experienced. So we're going to start with a session called What to Say, which is really just when things change in our world, what do we say to our people? And gosh, things have been changing a lot in the last couple of even just weeks and months. And, we have market changes and interest rate changes and technology changes. And so what do we say and how do we say that? So I think that's a really good practical session, just helping us to understand how do we better communicate with our people.
Yeah. Well, and I think cutting through some of the noise, there's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff. right? There's
Yeah.
a lot of people just talking. I don't know there's as much listening is going on. So listening to the needs of your people, being able to tell that, you know what I mean, and reassure and guide. And that's
Yeah.
truly what they're there for, right? You're a trusted advisor walking somebody through probably the largest purchase of their entire lives. And it's emotional and it's stressful and how to get through all of that. So I
Yeah.
just love that you're so diligent and thinking through that process. You know, like I said, we've known each other for a little bit, and I always appreciate the way you take that time. And even in your newsletters that go out, there's just such a thoughtful presence in it. You know, you really sat down, you thought about your audience, you thought about who you're talking to. I always love the stuff that comes out. I always take something from your little tips and tricks. So if you don't follow Valerie, go sign up for her newsletter. It's probably one of like 4 that I actually read every time it comes out. There's not a lot. I get a lot, but that's probably one of the ones that I sit down, open, and like click through all the links and read through. So you've got the other one that really kind of caught my eye too was human storytelling and chaos. So.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of storytelling. I think it's one of the most powerful tools in our toolbox. You know, we started out as kids learning through story, and we can really use the power of story in the way we communicate with our people. And so that session is really going to kind of dive into the story that our clients are experiencing when they're going through change. And newsflash, every single time we work with a client, they're going through change, right? They're buying a house, they're moving, they're selling a house, something's happening in their life. And so that really that session's going to walk us through the cycle of change and how humans interact with others during change and how we can help them and the stories that we should be telling that are going to help them most. So I kind of love this one because, gosh, we've, again, all been experiencing this in the last couple of years. And like chaos can actually be a really amazing opportunity in our business.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into that.
I love it. I think I've said it a couple of times, but I think there's a lot we haven't unpacked yet from the last couple of years. And I think that change, everything we went through is going to last a long time. You know, I think it forced us to adapt in a lot of ways. And I think it will continue, you know, to have more of an evergreen effect, you know, than most of us expected. I was like, oh, it'll only be 2 weeks. It'll be fine. Like here we are, circa 2.5 years later and still dealing with it all. So, you have, like you mentioned, a lot of real estate experience. I've seen you do a lot of things, brokerages, consulting companies, independent, you know, startups. I've seen you kind of dabble in all of it. What's the most unique thing you've seen a brokerage do really, really well?
I think this is going to sound corny, but embrace joy. I think my favorite thing that I've seen brokerages do especially well in the last couple of years is just find ways to find joy in difficulty. You know, I have brokerages that have just sort of like chucked the sales meeting out the window and done things like, you know, virtual Wii competitions where, you know, or like, you know, board games over Zoom and just really sort of like brought the lightness back into their agents' lives. And it's been really inspiring to see the ones that have really made an effort to find joy in the struggle of this business, because I've been in it long enough to know like it is a struggle some days. It's a lonely business for a lot of agents. It's a scary business sometimes. And you know, we all kind of feel like we're out here unemployed every day trying to just figure it out. And I think there can be a lot of joy in coming together and, you know, kind of embracing the suck together and figuring out how to navigate through it. And I have a lot of admiration for the brokerages that have really done that.
Done that well. Nice. You're a big reader. I know this. What is one book a rookie realtor needs to read?
This is a really unusual answer. Most people are gonna, you know, probably answer this with a sales book. But I think TED Talks by Chris Anderson is one of the most phenomenal books out there for anyone who has a role where they communicate with people. And that is especially true for our business. TED Talks, as you know, is a organization that was founded to create an opportunity to share ideas with the world. But TED Talks are limited in scope. They're only 17 minutes long. And so the book really goes through the psychology of telling a story in a really brief and impactful way. And I think that, we only have a short attention span with our customers these days. So how do we get what we need to get across really succinctly and intentionally? That book is pretty life-changing when it comes to that.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm a little sad, I have to admit, that Maple hasn't made a debut unless you have her locked out of that room.
No, my cat is very well trained now. When the camera comes on and there's sound, she goes to sleep. So
I feel like was not the case in the early days.
No.
We were all just loving to see Maple pop and see what.
Yeah, you would usually just see a tail going right through here at least once or twice, but no, she's matured a bit. So it's good.
I'm so proud of her. Fantastic. Well, we are nearing end here, but I have decided to end all of our sessions this way with rapid fire questions. I know. They're a big hit when we do them with our employee videos. So I thought, what a more fun way to wrap things up. So I promise they're not hard, and I was accused of not being rapid enough last time. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Driving or flying?
Flying.
Morning or evening?
Morning.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Street smarts or book smarts?
Street smarts.
Okay. Learn by watching or by doing?
Doing.
Cannonball or ease your way in?
Ooh. Cannonball.
Cannonball. I like it. I felt like the driving versus flying question was unique because of your recent travel. So I was like, oh, I wonder if this will affect her decision.
Yeah, both.
I don't know. Well, you drove across what
Scotland.
country? Scotland. That's right. I couldn't remember, but beautiful pictures. So I live vicariously through your travels. So I thank you for joining me today and taking the time out of your busy schedule, and can't wait to have you here back in Iowa. It's going to be great. And we're going to bring the most beautiful weather we've ever had in Iowa for convention this year. So we've got it all lined up. It's going to be perfect. And we look forward to seeing you then.
Well, I'm very excited to see everyone there.